What do we consider to be the top 10 funniest TV shows ever? Or so far, depending on the way you want to look at it. Let's find out and see what we've got. Hello beautiful geeks, how is everybody doing today? This is Lewis coming to you once again through the power of the Geek Fortress to bring you another top 10 list. And today we're going to focus on comedy because we're going to talk about the top 10 funniest TV shows. That's right guys and gals, we are going to try to dissect, and please keep in mind that there have been so many comedy shows, and as per usual for every other top 10 list, this is going to be a hard one, but we did our best. We put it together and we're gonna bring it for you beautiful geeks. So without any further ado guys, let's get right to it. At number 10 we have Boy Meets World. Who could forget about the adventures and mishappenings of Corey Matthews and Amy and Eric and Sean and everybody in the gang? But above it all, who can forget about Mr. Feeney's lessons? This show was one of those shows that guided you through the life of a teenage boy or a young boy growing into teenage boy, going through high school, meeting his sweetheart, and then eventually, spoiler alert, marrying her. This is one of those shows that you can watch through a lifetime and can grow up with it. This is the reason that it has made our list, and it even had a sequel or a spin-off if you want to call it, Girl Meets World. But that's why this show makes it to our list as number 10. Some people may not agree with me for putting this in this list at all, but I must recognize that it is a funny show. And I'm talking about The Big Bang Theory, beautiful geeks. Let me explain myself real quick. Some people say that they make fun of the geek culture and the nerdy culture, but I like not to look at it that way. All they're doing is basically portraying characters and showing that some people are a little more geeky than others. For example, Sheldon and his spot. But that doesn't mean that they're necessarily making fun of us. I just think that they are having a different approach on it, which I really do enjoy. Especially with the pretty girl involved in the whole situation. And Leonard getting the pretty girl at the end after all. Currently still on TV, so they must be doing something right. They have done more than 8 seasons, so some shows must take the formula for this because obviously, it's working. But what do you guys think? Big Bang Theory makes it to our number 9. I cannot do this all on my own. I'm no Superman. And of course, I'm talking about Scrubs at number 8. Scrubs is one of those shows that show you like the funny side of what a hospital environment would be. For those of us who don't really like hospitals, it was like, maybe they do have fun like in Scrubs. The thing about Scrubs is that even though it was a comedy, it had some episodes that hit you right in the heart. And by the end of it all, you were like, oh my god, I thought this is supposed to be a comedy. Why am I crying so much? Their chemistry between all the characters, especially JD and Dr. Cox, is an amazing thing. It's a show about growing up as well. It's a show about maturing, relationships, life, and death. And it channels some topics that some other shows haven't, such as being a doctor and how hard it is to actually tell somebody that they're gonna die, or like a patient and then come back the next day and they are dead. Or even staying up all night with a patient right before they die. Those of you guys who have seen the show know exactly what I'm talking about. Rest in peace, George. Of course, we're gonna have to include at number 7 this classic beauty. And of course, we're talking about I Love Lucy. Who can forget about this woman who's constantly trying to become a star? And of course, Lucy, I'm home. These are things that we just do not forget. Ricky Ricardo always being mad at her for her always being in trouble. And the whole gang, Ethel, Fred, Ricky, Lucy. It was one of those shows that we really enjoyed. And even though it was in the 50s, it showed a woman in a way that maybe we had not seen her before. Trying to become, supersede herself and trying to become better. It was one of those things that at the time may have been taboo, but let's face it, she was the one who was really, wearing the pants in the whole relationship. So, I Love Lucy makes it to our list, and if you've never seen it, I highly, highly recommend it. Desi Arnaz as Ricky is one of the best performances I've ever seen. As a Hispanic myself, I must say, he gets the accent down very good. And Vivian Vance as Ethel and William Frawley as Fred Mertz. The married couple, always getting in trouble with Lucy. Again, watch it, guys. No spoilers here. Just watch it, enjoy it. I think you guys will really, really like I Love Lucy. At number 6, we have the show about nothing. Just a whole bunch of misadventures of New York stand-up comedian Jerry Seinfeld and all of his friends. Takes place in New York. It's one of those shows that you have seen the episodes a million times. Let's face it, they're good. Kramer, George, Elaine, Ruthie, Jerry, all the trouble they get into, you can kind of relate to it sometimes. And why not? We've all been goofy, and since it's a show about nothing, you can really relate to pretty much everything that they do. Hence the irony of this beautiful show. If you guys haven't seen it, which I'm pretty sure the list of people who haven't seen it is very low. However, even if you have not seen it, I highly recommend it. You guys should pick it up. Chances are, if you turn any channel, you'll find it on, because it's one of those shows that has lived forever, probably will live forever, and guess what? We're always going to be quoting it for the rest of us. At number 5, we have the show that makes us one day want to sit down with our kids and tell them the story of how we met their mother. That's right, of the same title, How I Met Your Mother, ladies and gentlemen, makes it to our number 5. Who can forget about the misadventures of Lily and Marshall and Ted and all his love conquests? Let's face it, some of us could relate to him because he was a desperate romantic, and some of us, well, we're kind of just desperate. But still, it's one of those shows where you can relate to a character and everybody's going, okay, you're the Barney, you're the Ted, you're definitely the Robin. So it's one of those shows that everybody watches and is trying to relate 100% by saying, yep, that's happened to me, yep, that's happened to me, yep, that's happened to me, while keeping a little of the over-the-top factor. But still a pretty good show. And the best thing about this show, of course, Barney Stinson. Neil Patrick Harris, one of the best roles he has ever done. I highly recommend it if you guys have not seen it. But if you guys haven't seen it, just get out, you know. But I still love you, but wow, it's on Netflix. Go watch it now. Seriously, go. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, and a playground span most of my days, of course we're gonna include The Fresh Prince of BelAir at number 4. Why? Because it was one of those shows that, like Scrubs, had good tones, had bad tones, had sad tones, bright colors, dark colors, and it also channeled certain topics that had never been touched before, such as the loss of a parent, lack of a father in a relationship between father and son. I mean, who doesn't remember the episode where I personally cried when Will Smith, his dad, came back, and then at the end he leaves, and then he just starts crying, saying, why doesn't he want me, man? Why doesn't he want me? I mean, a lot of us could relate to that. A lot of us could just relate to the whole misadventures that he goes through, the love stories that he goes through, and of course, the best thing we got out of this was the Carlton. Of course, who hasn't tried to done the Carlton? I mean, come on. You know, you do a little dance. It's unusual to be loved by anyone. Come on, guys. Fresh Prince of BelAir. If you haven't watched it, again, go, watch, come back. Highly recommend it. It was Will Smith's big break, and now everything else is history. Check it out, enjoy it, love it, fresh. I know, you know, that I'm not telling the truth. I know, you know, you just don't have any proof. For those of you guys who don't know what that theme song is, that is the theme song of Psych. And for those of you guys who haven't seen this show, I recommend it probably the most out of this list. That's right, even more than number 2 and number 1. Because number 2 and number 1 are maybe a little more known, but this show is one of those shows that was a really good comedy, and not that many people knew or had the time or wanted to give the time to watch it. Me being one of them. I never even knew about it until I met my fiance, who's the one who showed me it, and I just got hooked. The adventures of Sean and Gus. Sean pretends to be a psychic when all he really is observant. We have Gus, the psychic, who has a different name every episode because Sean introduces him as something else every time.
Hello, I'm Sean Spencer. This is my partner, Radio Star. I'm afraid your video will kill him.
That's not true. The name is Burton, and the camera has loved me since I've been a baby.
This duo will have you laughing out loud. They are planning on returning for a Christmas special, so that is awesome. But yeah, Psych, number 3. Go watch it. At number 2, we have The Office. That's right, guys. Originally a British TV show adapted to American television. And it's one of those shows that the American remake is actually better than the original. Usually, when something gets Americanized, no offense, America, but it gets kind of like anime movies and stuff like that. Let's face it, we're not that good at it. But this one right here is one of those shows that made it far, and they didn't even know it was gonna get that far. After a short 7 episodes, I believe, for the first season, and then after that going on for several seasons, I believe 8 or 9. The Office is one of those shows that, again, if you work in an office environment, you watch it, and you start looking around you, and you're like, okay, that guy is Dwight, that guy is definitely Creed because he's weird, and the Jim and Pam of The Office are right there because they definitely should just do it already, rather than just be playing with each other and winking eyes at each other. So just do it, alright? Just Nike that shit. If you watch The Office all the way through, the final episode is guaranteed to make you shed a couple of tears or just freaking cry, because it's one of those shows that you have grown accustomed to the characters for so long, and then when you finally hear that the ending is coming and you watch the ending, you're like, okay, I was not ready for that, and I'm going to miss it. I highly recommend it. It's also on Netflix. If you guys haven't watched it, check it out, watch it, enjoy it, live it, love it, and don't forget,
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
here are some honorable mentions. Chandler, Joey, Ross, Rachel, Monica, and Phoebe. Who can forget these guys? That's right, we have Friends at number 1.
How you doing?
Because when no one told you life was gonna be this way, your job's a joke, you're broke, your whole life's DOA, I'll be there for you, man. Another show, guys, you can turn on every channel and you can find it. Friends makes it a number 1 because it has aged so well, in my opinion. And also, you are wondering to yourself, what's gonna happen? Are Ross and Rachel gonna end up together? They were on a break, blah blah blah, he's left with somebody else. But it's one of those shows that you also grow up with. You watch it since episode 1, and you've been watching it this whole time, and you're growing up with it. You're sharing your own relationship troubles with it, and you're watching and you're like, holy crap, that happened to me. So it's a very relatable show. It's one of those shows that you can watch over and over and over again. I personally put random episodes on in the background when I'm like cleaning up my house or when I'm like about to go to sleep or something. I like to have it on in the background because I like to enjoy it a lot. So if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I know a lot of people don't like it, but guess what? You should watch it anyways. That's right. That's right. Go watch it now. And that is our list, beautiful geeks. What do you think? Do you think that number 10 should have been 5, 5, 2, and 2 number 1? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and to drop us a like. It helps the channel a lot and it helps us bring you more awesome content. With that said, please remember, if you're on a break, it's not an excuse to go sleep with somebody else. Friends taught us. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome. Stay awesome and geek on. Lewis is out for this one. Here are some other videos you guys can watch. Some playthroughs and whatnot. Be safe, guys.